Good day, peace and all good to you. Our assigned topic is perennialism and essentialism. So, what is essentialism and perennialism? Perennialism is the oldest and most traditional educational philosophy. The word perennial means everlasting. Mortimer J. Adler, 1902 to 2001. Great proponent of perennialism and professor of philosophy at Columbia University. An individual learns best by studying and classics. Also, he wrote the Pedia Proposal seeks to establish a course of study that is general, not specialized, liberal, not vocational, humanistic, not technical. So, education, he said that education adjusts man to the truth which is eternal, while the contemporary is not. Education implies teaching. Teaching implies knowledge. Knowledge is truth. Knowledge is truth. The truth everywhere is the same. Hence, education should be everywhere the same. Education is not a limitation of life, but a preparation for it. Next one is Robert M. Hutchins, 1899 to 1977. Leading perennialist spokesman in America. Former Chancellor of the University of Chicago. Hutchins favors the school offering what he calls a liberal education. This would include emphasizing logic, mathematics, the discipline of language, and science and history. Also, his studies supposedly relate to the timeless truth of all mankind, perennial truths, and help us to think logically. Perennialism holds that education should be same everywhere for everyone. The sources of knowledge are the great books, for example, philosophical and religious works of Plato. Wise men talk because they have something to say. False because they have to say something. Plato said, wise men talk because they have something to say. False because they have to say something. So, some smart people speak when they have important or meaningful things to share. Foolish people talk just to make noise or to get attention even if they say is not important. Next one is Aristotle. He said that education, the mind without educating the heart, is no education at all. So, learning is not just about being smart or knowing facts. True education also teaches us to be kind, respectful, and good-hearted. Third one is St. Augustine. It was pride that changed men as angels. It was pride that changed angels into devils. It is humility that makes men as angels. So, being too proud can make a good person, but just like bride turned angels into devils. But being humble and modest can make people good and pure like angels. The last one is Saint Thomas Aquinas. To one who has faith, no explanation is necessary. To one without faith, no explanation is possible. So, a person who truly believes has faith, understanding without needing proof. But someone who doesn't believe will never understand, no matter how much you will explain. So, perennialism believed that one should teach the things that one believed to be of everlasting importance to all people everywhere. Since details of fact change constantly, this cannot be the most important. Perennialism suggests that the focus of education should be the ideas that have lasted over centuries. They believe the ideas are as relevant and meaningful today as when they were written. They recommended that students learn from the reading and analyzing the works by history's finest thinkers and writers. The educational focus of perennialism is on the need to return to the past, namely, to the universal truths and absolutely the reason and faith. Perennials believe that God and educations goes together hand in hand, and that education prepares a person for life. They also believe that schooling may come to an end, but a person who will never stop learning throughout their lifetime. Throughout their lifetime. Perennialists generally prefer a past orientation because it tends to be based on historical truth rather than the conjecture about the present and guessing about the future. The theory of perennialism also believes that the environment plays a big role in teaching someone. A person learns by experience. The philosophies of idealism, realism are rooted in this theory. They believe that having a relationship to a spiritual being is necessary for understanding our universe. This philosophy based on the view that reality comes from the fundamental fixed truth, especially those related to God. It believes that people find the truth through reasoning and revelation, and that goodness is found in rational thinking. Teachers are tasked to develop the students' inherent rational powers through the use of oral exposition, lecture, and explication. So, teachers help students think better and become wiser by explaining lesson clearly through talking, lecture, and discussing ideas in detail. So, next one is the learner's needs as well as social problems and issues are not considered in curriculum planning on the assumption that the learners do not know what is best for them. So, when making the lesson plan or curriculum, the students' opinions or real-life problems are not included because it is believed that students are not yet capable of knowing what they really need to learn. The last one is the teachers are the authority and sources of knowledge because of their maturity, professional training, and expertise. So, teachers are seen as the main source of knowledge since they are older, more experienced, and have studied well to become expert in teaching.
Curriculum content must focus on past, permanent studies which are timeless, such as philosophy, logic, rhetoric, literature, religion, and values education. The content is based on timeless knowledge. Content is learned through memorization, drill, repetition, and mental discipline. The method is through memorization, discipline, practice. And students are taught to reason through structure, lesson, and drills. The goal is develop students' ability to reason and think deeply. Next is why should perennialism be applied in teaching? First is personal development of the students through inculcating in them the principles that have been passed from generation to generation. Next is these principles are likely to make one develop a good personality, morality if learned and applied in life. Next slide is will be useful in later life, especially when learners begin to appreciate the need to be educated of the facts and knowledge. Perennialism is should be applied in teaching because it helps students develop morally and intellectually by focusing on timeless principle and universal truths. Essentialism. William Bagley in 1874-1946 popularized the term essentialism in 1930s. Essentialism is hope that when students leave school, they will possess not only basic skills and extensive body of knowledge, but also discipline, practical minds capable of applying schoolhouse lesson in real world. William Bagley is introduced essentialism, which stresses teaching core subject and basic skills. He believes students should gain essential knowledge and develop discipline, practical minds that can apply what they learn in real life. Next is essentialism surfaced in the 1930s as an opposition to the perceived relaxation of academic standards by the progressivists. During the Cold War, it developed into a major educational philosophy. Next slide is the essentialist believe that a curriculum based on students' interest or on social issues is wasteful in view of what they consider to do the primary aim of educational or intellectual development. Next slide is essentialism is a traditional and conservative educational philosophy which aims to develop cognitive group and mastery of subject. It is present oriented, focusing on contemporary knowledge written by experts in the field. The essential curriculum gives heavy emphasis on the three R's: reading, writing, arithmetic, English, history, and science. Subjects are areas that continue to fill general education in present-day schools. It is a concept of universal education, the belief that there is essential knowledge that everyone in given culture must have in order to be a knowledgeable and fully participating member of that culture. It is the school's responsibility to provide that knowledge. Essentialist belief. So before we start the essentialist belief, the William Bagley is introduced essentialism, which stresses teaching core subject and basic skills. He believes students should gain essential knowledge and develop discipline, practical minds, and that can apply what they learn in real life. Next slide is essentialist belief. First is students should learn from established fundamentals of education. Second, students should study the sensible and wise subject like literature, philosophy, science, and other subjects related to great works. Third is the child is a learner to be shaped and developed. Education is a preparation for life. It is not an imitation of life. So, next slide is why do the school needs essentialism in the education system? For the students to acquire basic knowledge, skills, and values, to hopefully transmit the traditional moral values and intellectual knowledge, the students need to become model citizens. So we have two rule. First is teacher rule and the second is student's rule. And teacher's rule is as an expert, impart essential knowledge, direct focus on task. The student rule is listen and learn. Second is the trust that the teacher knows best. Thank you.